This is Shawn with Gate City Foundation Drainage. I'm on a house inspection today, and this is part of a real estate deal. And we've got a few issues to look at here with this beautiful house. The first one is we have a pretty big drop off here, and this house is only a few years old. So any problems that it's got right now are going to get worse and worse and worse. So we'll come back to this right now, or we'll come back to that in a sec. The first thing that I noticed here was we've got a lot of mud staining and green goo in this area. And so take a look at what's going on here. This is holding water and it's sloping the wrong way. You can see it's flowing into the garage. And let me show you when I just poured some water out here. This concrete looks suspicious, so we're just adding some water here to see what happens. Yeah, so some of it's flowing away, and that's flowing away pretty well, but there's a lot of it that's flowing the wrong direction and holding over here. And the mud is what alerted me that there might be some problems over here. So you can see that most of the water is flowing away, but a good bit of it's also going into the garage there. And the fix for this, if you take this fixed point here and you take our other fixed point, which is the road, what they did here is there's a giant hump right where I'm standing. And instead of spreading the fall out from there to here, what they did is it comes out like this and then it dives down. So the only way to fix this is to tear this driveway out. And hopefully you can see that right there. So even if we address the water on this side over here and get it contained, which I'll talk about in a sec, the owners are going to have this problem forever until this gets fixed. So there might be a lot of mud and water there holding all the time. So that's definitely an issue. What I would do here is, since we have an unknown amount of water coming across the landscape and it's all coming down here, you can see lots of erosion through here. You can see where they've put sod down to try to hold it, and we have this mesh in there, and we have a slab on this side, and then it turns into a crawl space somewhere around here. And I'll show you how we have evidence of water in the crawl space. But what I would do here, the only thing we can do here is pretty drastic. I would just do like a concrete swale through here. And since we don't have a whole lot of fall to the road, I would probably want to do it all the way to the road up against the driveway to make it look more uniform. So that's definitely an issue. And take a look here, you can see we have some effervescence coming through the wall. And again, this house is only a couple of years old. So this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And this is the crawl space. So even though we don't have water intruding here now, it could just be because it's so new that it's holding up okay, but it's going to get worse. If we take a look around the front here, this downspout is draining directly into this bed, and of course we've got rocks here and water flows through rocks. So all this water is ending up in here. So I would just extend this out and do something decorative with it, and then it can go. We have a pretty good grade across this whole house, actually across these few houses. You can see we have a lot of raindrop splash across here, and when we look up we have a lot of black goo on the gutter. And so the gutters may be overflowing because we only have 2 downspouts and we have a really, really long run. So I would recommend adding a downspout, maybe right here somewhere, maybe split the difference between these two and just let it run. So that's not terrible. And then in the back, again, we have pretty steep backyard. There's a little pipe there that runs down, and you can see it in the neighbor's yard over there. That should not be too concerning because it's way out there in the yard. Over here, it looks like there's a lot of water that hangs in this area here. And if we take a look, this is another source of our water in the crawl space. We have this gravel, and it's like a grid right here. And so you all know from watching my channel what happens when water goes through gravel. Let's take a look. So we're inputting a pretty decent amount of water here. And the question is, water in equals water out. Where's that water going? And you all know that water flows through gravel. And so what we have here is we have water disappearing into the gravel, but it's going somewhere, and it's going in the crawl space. So what I would recommend here, which I've done a million times, is I would take all this gravel out and I would do a concrete patio, and I'd probably do it out maybe to this corner here, give them some outdoor living space, and of course the whole thing would slope away. So that would be a big fix for that. The other thing, this is kind of awkward over here. There's like this huge hump of ground right here, and I would probably try to grade this and feather it out a little bit better. Of course, we would replace the corrugated pipe with PVC and run it over somewhere. The other thing we have is the grading here slopes into the house. So we just have a lot of surface water. You can see how low that gravel pad is. So I would just come in here with a skid steer and just try to blow some of this out and get it all flowing away from the house. Oh, I've got one more thing. This is actually why they called me out here to begin with. Check out this culvert pipe. Broken open, and if you look right here, there's our discharge. So my guess would be that we have a lot of surface water flowing down here and just getting jammed up in here, and my guess would be they broke that open so the water could fall in there. So I would recommend just putting a couple pavers across here and not worrying about it. But that's my guess as to why that is broken open like that. So that's my drainage assessment for this house. This was definitely an interesting inspection. The reason is because the whole first reason they called me out there was for that culvert in the back. And as far as I can tell, they broke open that culvert to just accept some of that surface water that was being held up in that area. You have that blind corner in that fence. So I think that's what it was. But I was able to identify that the garage and the top of the driveway there was going to be holding water. And that would have been a nasty surprise for the new home buyers if they had bought it or if they choose to buy it. And a ton of my work is people who have bought new houses and they had no idea there's a flooding issue or whatever drainage issue, and they've got me out there looking at it within the first month of owning it. And so these home buyers, if they do buy the house, they're going to go into it knowing exactly what they're getting into and exactly what it'll take to fix it. So that issue with the driveway, that's a really tough fix because you've got to tear the driveway out and spread that fallout from the top of the garage floor to the curb right there. And whoever poured that driveway, they didn't spread the fallout, and so it's just that area is going to be holding water. Now, if we do the concrete on the side there, that will get rid of a lot of that water, and it will also get rid of the mud. So those are a few things to weigh in. Also in the back, I think the most pressing thing on this one is that back gravelly area. We need to get that turned into a patio that's going to shed the water and be a barrier for the crawl space right there. So I think that would be the priority on this one. The other stuff would be definitely beneficial as well, though. So let me know what you all think about this one. I always tell people to read the comments because you all are the experts too. So what do you all think about this one? Do you agree with my assessment, or do you have any other ideas? Let us know in the comments. All right, thanks for watching. This is Shawn. These home buyers, if they choose to buy the house, will know exactly what they're getting into, and they know a lot more than when I first went out there. The last drainage inspection video, we did get the job and I did that work, so that video will be coming out at some point soon. Like with that, I guess I will see you all in the next one. Take care.